call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation from Pastor William Wilson of the Choose United Methodist Church. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. We thank you, God, for this day that we can gather together. We thank you for our form of government where we can be heard and where we can share together the needs of our community. Bless those who lead us. Bless those who assist us throughout life. And we thank you for all of those who give their time to make this community what it is. For we give you thanks and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Wilson. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Where I use electronic amplifying and recording device, and in order to obtain an audible and clear record, we request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. Recording device be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office and shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchinson?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Present.
Mrs. Strato? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present.
Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Cantwell?
Here.
Mr. Moffett?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Deputy Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
We now have the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on agenda items only, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Seeing no hands, we close the first public portion. Proclamations.
I apologize, I have to get my glasses. Women's Heart Health Month. Whereas diseases of the heart are the nation's leading cause of death and stroke is the fourth leading cause of death. Whereas cardiovascular disease claims the lives of nearly 420,000 American females each year, approximately one death per minute. Whereas each year nearly 52% of all deaths due to cardiovascular disease and 60% of stroke deaths occur in females. Whereas too many women die each year because they are unaware that heart disease is their number one killer. Whereas nearly as many women die of heart disease, stroke, and all other cardiovascular diseases than the next four leading causes of death combined, including all cancers. Whereas only 16% of women surveyed in 2009 identified cardiovascular disease as the greatest health problem facing them. Whereas February is designated as American Heart Health Month, and February 1st marked the 10th anniversary celebration of National Wear Red Day for Women. Whereas Go Red for Women is the American Heart Association's national movement and call to increase awareness about heart disease, the leading cause of death for women, and to inspire women to take charge of their heart health and reduce risk for heart disease and stroke. Whereas all women should learn their own personal risk for heart disease using tools such as the American Heart Association's My Life Check, Go Red for Women Heart Check, Go Red Better You, and by talking to their healthcare provider. Whereas taking action and making the right choices relating to proper nutrition, physical activity, and other healthy lifestyle choices are essential to living a heart-healthy life. And whereas by choosing to improve heart and stroke health, American Heart Association Go Red for Women asks that across America women go red and help save lives from heart disease and stroke. Now therefore I, David Mayer, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and Glen Bianchini and Gloucester Township Council, in recognition of the importance of the ongoing fight against heart disease and stroke, do hereby proclaim February Heart Health Month and empower all women to reduce their risk of cardiovascular disease. History Month. In the centuries since African Americans first arrived on our shores, they have known the bitterness of slavery and oppression, the hope of progress, and the triumph of the American dream. African American history is an essential thread of the American narrative that traces our nation's enduring struggle to perfect itself. Each February, we recognize Black History Month as a moment to reflect upon how far we have come as a nation and what challenges remain. Nearly 100 years after the Civil War, African Americans still face daunting challenges and indignities. Widespread racial prejudice inhibited their opportunities, and institutional discrimination such as black codes and Jim Crow laws denied them full citizenship rights. Despite these seemingly impossible barriers, pioneering African Americans blazed trails for themselves and their children. They became skilled workers and professionals. They purchased land, and a new generation of entrepreneurs founded banks, educational institutions, newspapers, hospitals, and business of all kinds. This month, we recognize the courage and tenacity of so many hard-working Americans whose legacies are woven into the fabric of our nation. We honor African Americans whose resilience and perseverance sustain the dream of equality and fairness. We salute those citizens of past generations who rose above the injustices of their time and who empower the residents of this community that change in America is possible. Now, therefore, I, David Mayer, and Glenn Bianchini, Council President, do hereby proclaim February 2013 as Black History Month. I call upon our educators, librarians, and all the people of Gloucester Township to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities.
Thank you, Ron. Minutes?
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of regular minutes, January 28th. Special minutes, January 28th. Executive session minutes, January 28th. February workshop.
Motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes on the February workshop, and I abstain on the sessions on January 28th.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Bids?
RFP, RFQ, municipal architect, municipal land use attorney.
Motion to accept the bids.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Appointments?
Joseph F. McKernan Jr., Architects and Associates, Municipal Architect. Gibbons, P.C., Municipal Land Use Attorney.
Resolutions of consent agenda. At this time, I would ask any council person wanting to remove any of those resolutions to let me know now.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
On the question,
On resolution number 67, could you give us an explanation, please?
the resolution 67 is soliciting or asking for the authorization to transfer abandoned confiscated bikes, and they would be made into the bike rack that we saw at the council workshop.
So they're going to take bicycles and make racks out of it?
Correct. Tom, you have anything to add?
No, that's correct.
Mr. President, there's no labor from Public Works being utilized to build these racks, is there?
I do not believe so. No, I think it's a volunteer group. Yes.
And that's a recommendation coming in from the individual the township has consulting with for downtown Blackwood Arts District.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Mayor's report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council, good evening. Just wanted to update you on a couple of events that's happening in our community. The first is on February the 24th. It's a Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. We will be hosting a bowl-a-thon, a bowling fundraiser that will go towards the Field of Dreams. As you know, we have been working on building a Field of Dreams whereby children and adults with disabilities could play baseball, play softball on a field that is specifically designed to meet their needs. That will be located at our community park, and is really a great community project. We have a working group that meets monthly, that has brought together a variety of different aspects of our community, from our Kiwanis clubs and our Rotary clubs, individuals who are affected with family members who have disabilities, and really the committee keeps growing. We've already had several fundraisers over the past year, and we have that coming up on February 24th, so ask everybody to participate in that if they could. The April 20th, speaking of the Field of Dreams, we will be having a field dedication, really our first step in dedicating that field or opening that that process, and that is April the 20th. So all will be welcome. As you mentioned, we are celebrating Black History Month, and as such, we have a tradition here in Gloucester Township to acknowledge those individuals who make a difference in our community. If you want to nominate somebody for Black History Month, please go to our website and fill out the appropriate application, and we have a committee that will review them and make recommendations for the 25th presentation. Our community gardens, this is our third year, or this will be our third year with community gardens at the Gabriel Davies Tavern. If anyone is interested in a plot at community gardens, they can sign up March 19th at 7 p.m. in the courtroom. We also have our Citizens Police Academy, which is backed by popular demand. Every year it seems to grow. It looks at and teaching the community about what our police department does and the various aspects of law enforcement. That academy starts March the 14th, and you can sign up on our website. Thank you.
Mayor. Before we move on to EGOV, we do have a walk-on resolution that the solicitor has handed me, and I will let him talk about it.
I circulated to each member of council a memorandum of understanding to transfer specific radio equipment purchased for the 700 megahertz conversion. The memorandum of understanding will be between the Township of Gloucester and the County of Camden. Camden County has purchased or procured through an open bid, public bid process, radio communication equipment to be used to interface with the new Camden County Communications Center 700 megahertz radio system. The memorandum of understanding indicates that the county will purchase the equipment at no cost to the township. They'll provide the equipment to the township for a 2-year period. That's what this memorandum of understanding is. During that 2-year period, the township is responsible to maintain, repair, and ensure the equipment. It's yours to use during that 2-year period, as long as you're using it as part of this public safety 700 megahertz system. After the 2-year period, it is owned by the Township of Gloucester at no added cost. County is doing this because they've mandated the changeover system that you have to use. I don't know if the deputy has any additional comments on that.
Excuse me. Mr. President, this is for our emergency management only, so they would be able to communicate with fire and ambulance on the 700 megahertz frequency that's mandated.
And the county has to have this memorandum signed and in their possession by the 22nd of this month. Your next meeting is not until the 24th. Since it came in today, that's why it's being put on as an add-on. So you need to move a resolution, if you're inclined, to authorize the township to enter into this memorandum of understanding for the transfer of specific radio equipment purchased for the 700 megahertz conversion system.
Mr. President, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
On the question, if I may, Chief, have we made sure that the new ambulance company is involved in this?
Yes, they're reaching out as a separate entity directly to them with Camden County. They're dealing directly with Camden County. This is strictly, as are all the fire districts. Fire districts are dealing directly, since Gloucester Township Emergency Management falls under the direct purview of the township. We need this agreement to get it for our coordinators.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we didn't forget them.
No.
Thank you.
We're covered, yeah.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I do have a EGov question, and the EGov question is from a Ronald Paget. And Mr. Paget is from 1 Teakwood Lane, Ariel, New Jersey. His question for council: would council help to make sure our township's library have some type of exhibit in honor of African American Month? He states, I was hurt and ashamed when I went to the library the other day to do research paper on the contributions of African Americans to this great township. I thought there would be some display in honor of Black history, but there were only 3 books all the way in the corner in the children's section. So those libraries are ran, if I'm not mistaken, by the county. But I would ask that if you could reach out to the county and to maybe directly to our library to see that this was a request, and that we would ask that they have a display in regards to African American Month. I think it's totally should be part of the library system, and maybe they can get help from major Camden County library authorities. And then if you could just let us know that, I'd appreciate it. Could you also send a message back to Mr. Paget to let him know that you did that? Thank you. We now have the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any subject, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Mr. Schmidt?
Good evening. John Schmidt, Gloucester City, New Jersey. Came here originally with one question, and through some other research, second question. I'm looking into working on a research project, one of my research projects. Incident happened in another municipality, and it was somewhat related to my lawsuit against Gloucester City, in which they're under a court order not to have a meeting without advertising it, except if it's under the political caucus exception. I'm wondering if this governing body mistakenly has ever met or been together as a group outside of a township meeting or political caucus. Okay. Second question. In research, been looking at some things regarding PACs, and I'll direct my questions to the chair. Is it correct that Councilman Seiler was formerly chair of the Political Action Committee?
Mr. Seiler?
Chair of former PAC. At one time, I was on the council for a period of time.
When was that?
I don't remember the dates.
And can I ask why you stepped down from that?
Mr. Seiler, you want to?
No. So there's no reason why council...
I don't know of any reason why Mr. Seiler stepped down.
When did Mr. Seiler serve?
Mr. Seiler was elected in November of 2011, right? Yeah.
It won the PAC. I just want to make sure the
I do
information...
not know that. I don't know that.
And Mr. Seiler, as an elected official, won't answer that question when you served on as chair of a PAC?
No, he does not want to answer this.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Anyone else? Mike?
I think I speak for other
Mike,
people in the township.
Mike, can you just
Excuse
give
me.
us your name and your address, please?
Sorry about that. Mike Mortka, 68 Tilford Road, Somerdale, New Jersey. Been speaking about this since I heard about it with people around the township, whatever. I think I represent a fair group. I have more questions than anything, mainly regarding the armored vehicle that I assume we're purchasing, has that been authorized to purchase, or what was the status of the purchase?
We have authorized to fund the purchasing of that, yes. That has been authorized to purchase.
Okay.
Before we do that, you have to obtain the funding, so we did that.
Right. Okay. Now,
But I think it's going out to bid, am I
We're
right?
receiving bids, I believe, tomorrow.
Until Wednesday.
Wednesday, so Wednesday they'll have the bids presented.
okay. Can I ask, because I know the county has one, so there's a vehicle of that type in use. What has that vehicle been used for? What will it be used for?
The one that and again, the deputy chief can chime in, the one obviously that we want to purchase, Michael, is for the use of our Gloucester Township Police Department during those times where they have situations that they need to be protected or to be able to obtain protection for people on site so that they can go out and hopefully resolve an issue without anybody getting hurt.
What are you talking, like hostage type situations? Or?
Yeah, it could be that. It could be.
I mean, the thing I read was regarding serving of warrants. Well, it's like, don't you still have to get out of the vehicle to knock on the door and serve the warrant? What purpose is the warrant?
Well, I don't know how warrants are served. I can ask the deputy chief. I guess they could use it then.
It would be used for any high-risk warrants, barricaded person type incidents, anywhere where we have we do an analysis and believe that there's a high risk to the lives of the police officers or the public and whatnot. To answer your question, serving a warrant, yeah, you do have to go to a door, but when someone could fire through the door, doors don't stop bullets. This piece of equipment.
As I'm saying, you're already out of the vehicle, so it's not really doing you a whole heck of a lot of good.
No, it would do a lot of good because you could drive right up to the door, and if an officer's hit, you can make a rescue by putting that piece of equipment in between where the bullets are coming from to where the downed officer is. It can do a lot of good.
Okay. Also, regarding that vehicle, what I read I think on the patch or somewhere online, I read that the funding came from prior year's capital account that was not spent. Now, I went to college a long time ago, but I did study accounting, and what I remember about government accounting is that you can't, if funds go into a certain fund, and the money goes into a certain fund, you can't commingle the funds and move them around any which way. The government can't do that. So is it different in our case in the township, or, I don't know.
In this case, Michael, we had unspent capital funding over the course of the years because the prices came in less than what we estimated. So that funding was still there, so you're allowed to take that and you can move it to areas if you have other capital purchases so that you can make those purchases. And the other things, there's other things you could do with that money, and I can leave that up to Tom. But basically, what we did here is we had an amount of dollars that we needed a couple of things to be done that weren't scheduled to be done this capital year. So we moved that money and put it so that we could do those purchases.
All right. I mean, I respect what you said, Chief, and certainly I'm not a policeman, and I don't get involved with police work every day. Don't know the dangers, don't know how things work, but I mean, my initial reaction and the reaction that I got from a lot of people talking about it was that, we would rather seen our taxes get lowered a little bit than to have an armored vehicle. Another comment I heard about that I agree with is, I think by us getting heavier duty vehicles like this and big time equipment, where do we stop? Do we get tanks, whatever? But anyway, I think that by having that equipment, escalate what the criminals will do, because they'll always come at with a better answer to try and combat your defense and how you're handling things.
Mr. President, I respect your opinion, and I understand. I would highly recommend the mayor had mentioned our Citizens Police Academy. We'll give you more insight on how we operate. I recommend that for anyone. So we're clear, this is not a tank. This is the same level of protection that an armored car driver drives around in that we see at banks, every day. That's what it is. It's a vehicle, it's a truck, it's built on a Ford F-550 body. Difference is the materials it's made out of are the only thing that's tested and assured to stop bullets versus a car or something like that. And when I was a new police officer in 1995 in Haddon Heights, we had 3 police officers that were killed. This type of equipment wasn't out there. I know from speaking, Gloucester Township SWAT officers were there, and they had to look at a downed officer on the front lawn shot and were unable to get to him to rescue him. And they had to look at that, and times have changed, technology's changed. So that type of equipment can make all the difference when someone's wounded and again, we don't want our officers shot at, but when someone starts shooting, that's the type of equipment that's going to save someone. It could be you in your house. In 2009, we had someone shoot up a neighborhood, and we rescued literally 30 individuals with the same exact type of vehicle, and we had to wait for it to come from Clarksboro because it was closest one there. And people's houses had bullets going in the front and out the back, family, little children. So I respect that. I would highly recommend that you come to our Citizen Police Academy if you have the time, and we'll try and educate you, fill you in a little bit better. But I do respect your opinion. I hope I made it clear for you.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
The another thing I read was there was a rebuttal, I guess, from the guy from the county, said that the county vehicle has been available, and it was called for 10 times, and 9 out of 10 times the vehicle was where it needed to be before the team was there, things like this. So it's obviously, he was saying this is always available to them as county residents. Why do they need their own, basically? And I'll just reiterate the question.
Yeah, and look, Mike, there's 37 towns in this Camden County, so one vehicle for 37 towns, and things happen so fast, it could be anywhere. With things that are going on now, with the recommendation of our experts, the police department, the chief, the deputy chief, and others, we felt that it was the best purchase to be able to use our own and be able to take care of our own business with that vehicle. So we weren't relying on situations where we may have to wait. And that vehicle, I know people said it was in Lakeland, it could have been in Lindenwall. Well, that may be where it is today, but tomorrow it may not be. So that was,
Well, his comment was that it was never not available whenever we called for it.
I don't think we ever really said it wasn't never available, but there are situations where they had to wait for an hour or plus, as the deputy chief just spoke. And again, we just felt it was the right time to do it.
And I'll clarify, we work hand in hand with the Camden County Sheriff's Department every day. They're our partners in public safety. And they are available 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if I misspoke saying I meant that they are not working in patrol like our officers are working 24 hours, 7 days a week. And being an operator, being an officer out there, when you're in a bad situation, minutes feel like hours. And so if you can reduce that time for the officers to get to safety or to rescue someone who's in a harrowing situation, that was the intent. We work hand in hand with the Sheriff's Department. I have the utmost respect for the Sheriff and the Sheriff's officers that we work with on a daily basis. So I don't want this perception that we have any issues, and no way did I intend to portray that we had any issues with the Sheriff's Department. It's just the belief that we have it here for our officers to be in this situation to do the best good as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Laverna Pay. I live at 1 Jamie Court in Gloucester Township. And this question may be a little late, but I'd like to get an answer to it. Could you explain to me why are there, on my way home, I get off at exit 8, I have to pass through 4 cameras to get home? Why is that? And I would like to know, is there any place else within this township that has that many cameras? Because I don't understand why I have to go through 4 cameras to get to my home.
Well, just to answer, give you a little background, the state had a program that allowed towns to make application for areas that they believe, intersections they believe were not as safe as they could be from vehicle accidents. And Chief, Deputy Chief, correct me if I'm wrong. And so we made those applications, and the township, the state approved the township to have, I think it was up to 16 cameras in different locations. The main locations were on Blackwood Clementon Road. So we installed 10 of them, and that's where we were only installing 10 of the 16. So we have installed them in those intersections that were qualified and approved by the State Department of Transportation. And so they're the ones, and that's why they're there.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to get an understanding as to, as big as this township is, there were no other identified areas of which there were even 2 cameras that could have been relocated to that area, besides having that area saturated with those cameras.
Well, I didn't put the application in, but I could tell you, and maybe the Deputy Chief remembers, there was a criteria that the state gave everybody, and this was the criteria that was used to establish which intersections you were allowed to put them in. So by that, I'm assuming the police department identified those intersections.
There was a pilot program in, and with very strict criteria. We had to do traffic counts, and actual observed observations were done, keeping count of it. They were done on numerous roads throughout the town to see which area best qualified. At the time that the pilot was run, Blackwood Clementon Road fit all the criteria as being a very busy highway with a number of intersections that are on it. We looked at certain areas, I believe Ariel Road at Little Gloucester Road. However, the traffic patterns changed with the addition of off-ramps and on-ramps, the amount of traffic traveling that road. There were some other areas. I think this was done in 2007 or 2008. So strict criteria that the state gave us for the pilot, and that was the area that fit the criteria that we were given by the pilot and state law.
It just really seems to be just a bit much, because I come out of Cherrywood Drive, and when you were to talk about accidents, I mean, I've been here for 15 years, and I really don't recall seeing that many accidents on Blackwood Clementon Road, and not even at that intersection there. So it's just, to me, it's overkill that I feel like I need to go a different way, because it's like, I'm right there, Blackwood, right by the Rite Aid, where I need to make that turn. You know, if you don't sit there for 10 seconds, you know, I'm getting
I can assure you, as a test to someone who's seen the camera in operation, if you drive your car and come to a complete stop, you don't have to wait. There's rumors you have to wait 3 seconds, whatever. If you come to a complete stop and your car doesn't move any further as the law calls for, you will not get a summons on that.
Well, I'll have to disagree with that.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Debbie Shin, Easton Court, Sicklerville. Going back to the Bearcat, sorry. Since the last time we talked, I've done a lot of homework. A lot of homework. I understand Bearcats are falling out of the sky. Everybody's getting them. I got that. My concern is that 99, 44, 100% of the money for these Bearcats is coming through Homeland Security. They're shoveling billions and billions and millions of dollars out to anybody that wants one of these things, and have been for quite a while. The issue of whether or not it's a tank, that's semantics. A lot of them can be fitted to disperse chemical agents out of the bottom. They can also have gun turrets. Whether ours is going to have all those toys or not, I don't know. But when it's dispersing chemical agents and it can have a gun turret on it, that's a tank. If ours doesn't have that, then maybe we can call it something else. I've done a lot of homework on this stuff. My question for council is, why are we spending the money out of our coffers if we can apply for a grant and get one through Homeland Security?
Well, part of the money that was obtained via the drug confiscation money that was approved by the county prosecutor's office, a small amount, probably about $35,000. The rest of it is being funded by our capital funds. But I assure you, if we can get the money from some other source, we will get the money from some other source.
Have we applied?
The police department is always looking for other areas in which things get paid for, and they've done that since the day I started here on council. And I will ask our business administrator to check that out and make sure if there is availability of any funding from other sources other than us, then by all means we'll go after it.
Is it an issue that the county truck was purchased with Homeland Security money?
I don't know how they're
So we've kind of used up our wishes?
Maybe, but I don't know that.
Did we look into this before we decided to buy this thing?
I believe the chief did look into this, and I do not believe there are Homeland Security monies available for this acquisition at this time.
I would ask that you double check that, Tom.
Yeah, because I haven't heard that they've withdrawn that offer, and these, like I said, these things are raining out of the sky.
Oh, I know there's a lot of people want to take a lot out of Homeland Securities, and by all means, we'll double check that.
Please, because I understand Voorhees is also acquiring one of these things. So if there's money for them, there should be money for us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the second public portion. The council needs to go into a closed session, and this closed session will be to review resumes that were given to me by the Gloucester Township Democrat Committee for the replacement of freeholder Michelle Gentek, who resigned her position due to becoming the freeholder. Dave, I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
Council has to approve going into closed session, as you know, by resolution. On this type of issue, you can go into a closed session to discuss something that's personal to a resume, so that you can speak freely on it. But when you want to deliberate individually for a particular person or what, you have to do that in open session.
So I don't believe it would be more than 30 minutes in closed session, just to give you a range. I would imagine between 15 and 30 minutes, so if anybody wants to stay, by all means you can. I would ask for a motion for resolution.
Closed session.
Second.
On the question, roll call please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes, we will be returning from that closed session.